start, some of the retired teachers of our college asked me, were you inside the auditorium? I said, yes. Is it cold there? I said, a little bit. Christmas season is approaching, and it brings with it a sense of warmth, a sense of togetherness. I would now like to welcome the MCTA St. Anthony's College Unit, led by the Department of Music, to present to us their welcome song. Well as the students who took part in performing in front of us that very wonderful song, beautiful song, invoking God's blessings throughout this day. I would now like to invite the President of the MCTA, Dr. Ms. B.H. Boam, to deliver her presidential address.
Thank you, Sir C. Manik Singh. It was awaited biennial conference. After over 2 years of uncertainty looming large. The chief guest of today's function, Professor Honorable Vice Chancellor, Northeastern Hill University, Meghalaya. Special invitees, Principal of St. Anthony's College, respected Dr. Brother A.L. Dakar, the fraternity of St. Anthony's College, principals of colleges, former presidents, and former general secretaries of the Meghalaya College Teachers Association, members of press fraternity, members of executive committee, office bearers of the MCTA in different units, and esteemed members of the association. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and warm greetings. On August 3rd, 2019, I proudly declared from the very same platform that our very own association, the Meghalaya College Teachers Association, will be commemorating its 50 years of its existence on April 11, 2022. An association formed 2 months, 21 days after the state of Meghalaya was carved out from the state of Assam as an independent entity. Here on the threshold of the significant milestone, I am standing with an immense sense of pride, while at the same time upholding the responsibility of the position as president of the association. It is a presidential speech or address with a difference, because we are at the crossroads. On one hand, we have the COVID-19 scenario, which has not left us. And on the other hand, we have the NEP 2020 staring at us. So where do I begin? I would like to appreciate the tone that has been set by Principal of St. Anthony's College, Brother Albert. But where do I begin? I would like to begin by saying, over the last 2 years, the world over has seen life being thrown into topsy-turvy, with unpredictability and fear gripping due to the precarity of the situation caused by the pandemic. Still, we are not free from We are seeing demand for skills such as critical thinking and creativity across both manual and professional occupations. And as a result, education is on the brink of major reform. Countries may have little in common in terms of geography, industry, and socio-economic status. But according to a review of over 100 countries, educational mission statements and goals, they all agree that education should aspire to prepare students to deal with the non-routine of life. In fact, more than 86% of the countries studied agree on this point. And that point is to emphasize the 21st century skills such as problem solving, communication, cooperation, and digital literacy. This is by Vista and Care in 2017. I would like to take you to another paragraph. Here it says, it may be emphasized that 21st century education is about skills, set of processes. Our students need to be able to adapt to context. This is what Brother also had pointed out. Meet challenges and solve problems that are as yet unknown. The speech by Brother, he brought out, he laid before us about the unforeseen challenges, but there is a sense that those challenges are going to be encountered by each one of us. In this regard, our best chance at helping them succeed is thus use assessment. I have brought out here the assessment. We talk only about teaching and learning, but this is the time that I'm saying the assessment to support the learning about the sets of processes that they will bring to bear in those situations. Thus, the clarion call is, let's focus on the skills, not the scores. Here is a paradigm shift. For so long, we have been focusing on marks. In a mark-oriented system we're talking, marks indicate your success. But this is the time, a shift that let us focus on skills and scores. Now, the slow pace of change in academic institutions globally is lamentable. With centuries-old lecture-based approaches to teaching, entrenched institutional biases, and outmoded classrooms. However, COVID-19 has become a catalyst for educational institutions worldwide to search for innovative solutions in a relatively short period of time. In matters of weeks, coronavirus, COVID-19, has changed how students are educated around the world. The changes give us a glimpse of how education could change for the better and the worse in the long term. And these words, they were also expressed by Britta. Are we happy with it? Are they good for the time? This is yet to be seen. These changes have caused a degree of inconvenience, but they have also prompted new examples of educational innovation. Although it is too early to judge how reactions to COVID-19 will affect educational systems around the world, there are signs suggesting that it could have a lasting impact on the trajectory of learning innovation and digitization. With 5G technology becoming more prevalent in countries like US, China, and Japan, we will see learners and solution providers truly embracing the learning anywhere, anytime concept of digital education in a range of formats. Traditional in-person classroom learning will be complemented with new learning modalities, from live broadcast to educational influencers to virtual reality experiences. Learning could become a habit that is integrated into daily routines, a true lifestyle. I will pass on just skip the paragraphs and go to the next. The lockdown has accelerated adoption of digital technology. It is a chance to be more efficient and productive while developing new and improved professional skills, knowledge through online learning and assessment. It is also a fact that use of technology in education is resulting in different concepts in the system. For instance, the move from teacher-centric education to student-centric education. This is a time that we need to revisit, reassess our roles and responsibility. We have to be ready to be facilitators, whereas the students will be the proactive learners. Now, it is experienced that the virtual classrooms and various online tools, which we have been talking about today, which was later modified in 1992. It have been made, including the latest change on making it ready for an educational system suited to a COVID-19 world. What a coincidence! This was unforeseen, but here we have an NEP which is aligning, which is trying to match the demands of that COVID-19 world. It is envisioned that the NEP 2020 will bring transformational reforms in schools and higher educational systems in the country with an aim to make India a global knowledge superpower. Now, philosophically, the NEP 2020 is a transformative document and seeks to be aspirational in nature, to empower students, to empower teachers and educational institutions who are important stakeholders to rise up to the challenge of the occasion that are placed in the 21st century. It emanates from the fact that there has been disruptive technology and fast-moving information and communication technology, which made the globe like a village and a very connected society. It also has a reason. The reason being, India as a country has one of the youngest population in the world today. So a window of opportunity will have to be created, which should last, and which we have to leverage. If we have to do this, we should have a system which is suited to that kind of futuristic needs of a youth population. It also stems from the fact that India is committed to SDG 2030, and particularly SDG Goal 4, which to ensure inclusive and quality suitable education with lifelong learning opportunity to all. It may also be mentioned that it is founded on the idea of how learning is to take place in 21st century, where learning is not seen as a one-dimensional activity, but multi-dimensional activity. In trying to have, I would like to draw your attention here, in trying to have learning to know, which is cognitive, learning to do, which is experiential, learning to live together and with others. The Delors Commission has also brought out the 4 pillars, and learning to be, which is to internalize aspects of one's potential being optimized through the education. It is established that NEP 2020 has been formalized. For the first time, students are kept as a focal point of the entire policy. The policy reflects the 5 I's. What are those? Indian, internationalism, impactful, interactive, and inclusive, while beholding itself on the principles of equity, quality, and access. So the policy is visualized, that it will bring transformational changes for students, making them adapt to the skill of the 21st century at both school and higher education levels. The child, the student, is a focal point. Now, COVID pandemic has shown the importance of digital learning. However, let us not overlook the fact that there is digital divide. This has also been taken cognizant in the NEP 2020. There is digital divide. It is not only in the context of geography. It is not only in the context of setting the urban and the rural setup, but even within the urban conglomeration, there can be this digital divide. So how to do this? We need to leverage the advantages of technology while acknowledging its potential risks and dangers. It is encouraging to know that the policy emphasizes on making job creators and not job seekers. I am not going to talk about NEP, the different thrust areas. I'm not going to talk about the multidisciplinary. I'm not going to focus on all that because it is there in the public domain. But here what I'm presenting to you are a few observations and reflective thoughts that I would like to share before you. Through the policy, we are hoping to transform education and putting a significant trust on learning how to think critically and solve problems and how to be creative and multidisciplinary. This is where, my dear colleagues, we need to revisit. We have to move from the rote learning. We have to move from the memory level and move into that domain, move into that frontier of bringing about, children, students who are critical and who are creative. Pedagogy is expected to evolve to make education more experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry-driven, discovery-oriented, learner-centered, discussion-based, flexible, and over and above, enjoyable. If we put it, in the words of John Dewey, it is learning by doing. If we put it in the words, that we are talking today of the modern pedagogy, it is that activity-based learning. Here we have an experiential learning, one that is joyful, one that will bring about holistic development. This is what NEP 2020 talk about. It talks about holistic, integrated development. I'm not going to talk about the subjects because it is there for us to have, we can access it. Now, the long-term aim will be for India to have an education system by 2040 that is second to none, with equitable access to the highest quality education for all learners, regardless of social or economic background. My special attention is drawn here to point that NEP 2020 offers a diagnosis of the challenges in the field of higher education and a vision for overhauling and re-energizing it. The list of 10 problems and 9 solutions are wide-ranging. The educational ecosystem is fragmented. Hence, large multidisciplinary universities are called for. There is too much specialization. Hence, a multidisciplinary undergraduate education. We are going to see the change in the landscape of our very own colleges. The multidisciplinary feature. There is lack of access to higher education in socio-economically disadvantaged areas. Hence, a range of measures for increased access and inclusion are required. The lack of emphasis on research in colleges and universities call for the creation of a national research foundation to actively seed research and to fund outstanding peer-reviewed research, and so on. Now comes this. It may not be offensive on my part to point out that the responses to some deficiencies, they are manifestly meaningless. For instance, the solution to the problem of limited teacher we are talking about, as an association, we have been demanding and urged upon, to strengthen the teaching force. And also, the problem of institutional autonomy is moving towards faculty and institutional autonomy. Secondly, solution to inadequate mechanism for merit-based career management and progression of faculty and institutional leaders is reaffirming the integrity of faculty. That is a point. It is affirming the integrity of faculty and institutional leadership positions through merit appointments and career progression based on teaching, research, and service. And thirdly, to an ineffective regulatory system is light but tight regulation by a single regulator for higher education. Now, we go on. The existing colleges will gradually become autonomous colleges, or else they will phase out. It is noted that this policy is similarly short on specifics. What are those specifics for the higher education institution, clusters, or knowledge hub that it envisages as buzzing with artistic and creative energies in vibrant, multidisciplinary environments, and as harbingers of fundamental change in the conceptual perception, understanding of what constitutes higher education system. What is HEI? It is short on specifics. You read the NEP, it is not yet adequately explained. A reflection of NEP 2020 underlined that autonomy is something to be desired, but circumscribed and controlled, for it is ultimately in the gift of the state. In terms of faculty autonomy, it promises autonomy to design curricula and pedagogical approaches within the approved framework. In institutional terms, autonomy here applies primarily to affiliated colleges who could use it in unspecified ways to move gradually to become research-intensive or teaching-intensive unities. Hear this out from me, my dear colleagues. It talked about students as a focal point, but let me tell you, the NEP 2020 heralds, signals the certainty of student exclusion from participation in university governance. It has only 7 lines on student activity and participation that effectively infantilize university students, promising them opportunities for participation in sports, culture, arts clubs, eco clubs, etc. But apart from that, I did not see what has been, the practice, what has been established, that we train teachers for a future tomorrow. They are the precious national assets, but here it is silent on student unions. It is silent, on the form of student governance or student participation in the statutory bodies of the university is ominous. Now, while the policy demands high level of efficiency, accountability, and even performance-based incentivized promotion, yet the NEP is also silent on the issues of teachers' welfare. The national policy of 1986 speaks about the welfare of the teachers. It speaks about the in-service conditions of the teachers. It speaks so much about how the interests of the teachers are protected. But here, the NEP 2020 is silent. It fails to recognize the importance of teachers' union to protect their interests as a collective body. Now, the NEP, now as an association we are gathering today, what will be our tomorrow? NEP is silent on this. So this is a time where we need to revisit, I keep telling that. This is a time where we need to reflect. So the NEP 2020, it calls for an increased expenditure on education and set a target of 6% of the gross domestic product. It may be reminded that the Kothari Commission 1964-66 also had envisaged an increased investment in education with a projected growth of national income at 6% every year. It is acknowledged that NEP 2020 is paving the way for privatization. Let me just share a few facts. The policy aims for rate and the gross and as per I report of Government of India 2018 was 26.3%. In this backdrop, it is impossible to make 100% growth in 15 years' time span without privatizing higher education. This is the order. Now, the policy of encouraging private investment in education has definitely led to increase in the number of universities and colleges. This policy is inconsistent with the liberalization and the market-oriented mechanism. Yet it has posed many problems for the higher education sector, especially for the low and lower income students. Higher education is bound to be market-driven, pushing an upward escalation of costs. Social exclusion of the weaker sections of the society will be an increasing reality. We are not seeing it. Everything is so perfect, but there is, a kind of a camouflaging. If you go deep, I did research a bit. I found that there is this imminent kind of exclusion. Though the NEP claims to resolve the possible contradiction or through public philanthropic partnership, yet we have to cautiously believe in such an effort. Bear with me for a little time more. As a main thrust of the policy regarding higher education is to end the fragmentation of higher education by transforming higher education institutions into larger multidisciplinary universities. It, however, completely ignores the significance of diversity among universities in India. The social cultural diversity, the decentralized autonomy of the universities, and the reach and scope of affiliated colleges that have been catering to the needs of the students in urban and rural areas are negated in a single stroke with the label of fragmentation. This will lead to homogenization of higher education, which is very dangerous in a multicultural country like India. The high concept of international education might be desirable for government, but it's important. But ensuring progress. We are all concerned with one task: to develop human capital, to provision of quality education to the youth of the state. The state government, Northeastern Hill University, the college management, the teachers are simply the agents to facilitate the students to enjoy the basic human right of quality education. A roadmap that benefits the student community. This is what is to be impressed upon. And as an association, we are important stakeholders as well. For higher education, for undergraduate education, this is where our input will also matter. Hence, the government and the Northeastern Hill University need to take effective steps to improve upon the quality of education, especially in view of the implementation of NEP 2020. I would like to pause for a while because there are a few questions that I would like to throw before the House. Contextualizing NEP in Meghalaya's education environment, there are certain issues that need serious pondering. Number one, are our colleges ready to become autonomous? What will happen to colleges that are not in a position to gain autonomy by 2025? The time aimed by NEP to end affiliation system. What will be the implications of tight regulation by the national level regulatory body as envisioned in the NEP for colleges? Will our colleges be able to be large multidisciplinary institutions with minimum of 3,000 students? Will our colleges be able to survive with a loan system of funding? Will the GER target of 50% be able to achieve without generous state funding? Will our college remain as teaching institutions or move towards research-based institutions? We have the principles here. These are the very pertinent questions. What will happen? How do we bring about that transformation? The trajectory set forth for higher education in the NEP 2020 calls for reinventing the roles of the state government, the college managements, and the teaching staff. It calls for more professionalization and result-oriented action. One noteworthy, and coming towards the end also, is that it strongly emphasized the criticality of teacher education. Madam Principal of the College of Teacher Education, this is one critical point. The criticality. Now, hailing the legacy of Acharya Devo Bhava, teacher education is vital in creating a pool of school teachers that will shape the next generation. The teachers will be facilitated with the qualities of reforming, transforming, and performing at the same time, abreast with the 21st century needs. Teacher preparation is an activity that will require not only multidisciplinary perspectives and knowledge, the formation of dispositions and values and development of practice under the best mentors. Here comes the 4-year integrated, stage-specific, subject-specific bachelor education, which will be offered at multidisciplinary institutions, would be the way forward. This is staring large at the colleges of teacher education. What will happen? The stand-alone institutions, do we see a bright future? This is where the colleges need to think. How do we bring about the 4-year integrated BEd? Because the system, because NEP talks about, it gives it as a critical point. Now, at the center of all this, we have the teachers. Teacher preparedness is very important. For the colleges as well, what we have at the moment is not enough. What are the skills that we need to have is also important. So it fosters the spirit of Acharya Devo Bhava, for education to be powerful, and here the teachers need to be empowered. Teacher empowerment has to follow with it. This thought will facilitate conduct of thoughtful discussions to enhance the role of the teacher, to embed the vision of teacher as per the 21st century. Though sadly, till today, the role of the teacher was circumscribed to clerical task and transaction of the curriculum, and further conducting prescribed examinations. There will be a transition where in the transitional Pillai Radhakrishnan. For Radhakrishnan, democracy, justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity had to inform our philosophy of education, encompassing everything from the art of human relationship to social harmony, from training wise administrators and judges to providing quality of education in India. There is therefore no doubt about where education is going, but there is a great deal of uncertainty concerning how to get there, and importantly, how to measure progress along the way. So I would like to take the words of Gloria Tam and Diana El Azhar. Resilience must be built into our educational system. The disease, to extremist violence, to climate insecurity, and even, yes, rapid technological changes. The pandemic is an opportunity to remind ourselves of the skills students need in this unpredictable world, such as informed decision-making, creative problem-solving, and perhaps, above all, adaptability. To ensure these skills remain a priority for all students, resilience must be built into our educational system as well. I would like to thank the students of St. Anthony's College for that wonderful rendition. It touched, it connects with the chords of my soul. And I believe it connects with every one of us. We praised him for the glory. We praise him because he has blessed us. You know, the Lord bless us. The Lord will keep us. And he has kept us till this time. His presence has been ultimate. And his face, you know, the smile is there upon us. So may God bless you as you tread along this journey. This is our prayer from your teachers sitting here and those attending online. So as I conclude, I humbly submit that it is an honor and a privilege for me to have served Meghalaya College Teachers Association as president. I take this opportunity to place on record my sincere appreciation and gratitude to all the leaders and members of the association. They're sitting here. One just left us a month back, the first secretary, of the association. And gratitude to all the members of the association for 50 years of existence for their priceless contribution towards the growth of our esteemed association, the Meghalaya College Teachers Association. I thank each one of you sitting here from one corner to another. And I thank those who attend this meeting, this conference, via online. I'm not able to reach you, but know that when we are members of MCTA, I'm glad that one of our very senior who has retired said that spirit is always there. It never dies. I exhort upon the members of the association to reinvent after what I had given a long, speech, but I want to give it. I told the General Secretary, Nangsan, it's long. What can I do? You cannot time me. He said, ma'am, go for it. That's why I took this opportunity. And thank you for your listening, your patient listening. I exhort upon the members of the association to reinvent and readjust oneself to the changing landscape and contours of higher education, as have been outlined, and to commit towards providing quality education. I call upon each member to be conscious of the challenges that confront the teaching and student community. I call upon each member that let us remember the code of conduct. Let us remember the professional ethics. One policy may go, one policy may come, but the fact remains, our professional ethics remain intact. Further, I urge upon members to rise to the occasion, to protect, towards preserving the interests of teachers and students, and to contribute towards development of society and the state of Meghalaya. I sincerely wish that the Meghalaya College Teachers Association grows from strength to strength. Despite the uncertainty of the relevance of it, let it grow from strength to strength. Let that light that is there keep burning, be it in the dark, be it in the bushes, be it anywhere, because I remember having said, because at the end of the day, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you. Kublai, Mithila, and Shukriya. Long live MCTA, the Meghalaya College Teachers Association. Please repeat after me. Long live MCTA. Louder. Louder. And for the last time, again for today. Long live MCTA. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. And thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam President, for your presidential address, where, to borrow one of your own words, you very vividly laid out the landscape of both sides of this coin called NEP 2020, and not only both sides, even the edges as well, which I think has given a lot of thought to our chief guest for the day, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Northeastern Hill University, Professor P.S. Shukla. But before I invite him to deliver his speech and share his views with us, we now have to move forward with one of the most important parts of every biennial conference, and that is the appreciation that we show to our retired teachers. And we have invited quite a list with us. There are with me a list of 31 invited retired teachers. We don't know if they are all here. There is a citation that will be presented to each one of them, and I will read out the citation to you. You are never too old to set a new goal or to dream a new dream. These are the words of C.S. Lewis. The superannuation of a dedicated and devoted teacher is a bittersweet moment, for it is tinged with the memories of a glorious past, a sadness at the inevitable farewell, and yet a joyful expectation of a new journey to fresh pastures. As we bid farewell